My name is Carl Barber, and today I would like to talk to you about the best retirement plan you have never heard of. A plan approved by the IRS and offered by some of the oldest and most stable financial institutions. This plan has zero losses when the stock market is down and locked-in gains when the stock market is up. Listen to that again. Zero losses when the stock market is down and locked-in gains when the stock market is up. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to design a personalized retirement plan approved by the IRS, controlled solely by you, completely mobile, with access to penalty-free, tax-free money at any age. You will have zero taxes on your money as it grows, zero taxes on the money you withdraw for retirement, zero taxes on the money you leave your loved ones, and zero taxes on the money they inherit from you. Zero. Today, you probably own what is often referred to as a qualified plan, and that could be a 401k, a 403b, a 457b, a SEP, a simple, or an IRA. If you do, I've got some really bad news. Wall Street and the financial planning community want you to think these plans are the best place to save for retirement, and Washington has made it easy by allowing you to deposit tax-deferred dollars now and allowing your money to grow tax-deferred until retirement. At first, it sounds like a pretty good deal. However, the fact is these plans have become one of the worst places to save for retirement. First, you should understand these plans were never designed to replace the pension plan, but were actually designed to be nothing more than a tax shelter. They were to be used along with the pension plan, not in place of it. All qualified plans originated from the 401k that was passed into law in 1978. Unfortunately, everything we knew about retirement planning in 1978 no longer works today. There were three events that have now made your qualified plan obsolete. Number 1, extended life expectancy. Number 2, the 77 million baby boomers that started qualifying for Social Security and Medicare in 2011. And number 3, the introduction of computerized trading on Wall Street. When the 401k was invented, no one expected to live 20 to 35 years in retirement. The days of spending a few years sitting around the house waiting to die are over. The Aon Corporation now predicts you will need 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income to retire comfortably. Currently, 45% of Americans save nothing at all for retirement. And of the 55% that do, at current growth rates, 4 out of 5 will not have enough saved to be able to retire full-time, let alone have enough to last a lifetime. Now, we all know what Monday mornings feel like when you're young. Can you imagine rolling out of bed to go to work every morning when you're 85? And what if you're unable to work? Seniors are now the fastest growing poverty group in America. Next, let's look at the 77 million baby boomers starting to qualify for Social Security and Medicare. David Walker, a former Comptroller General of the United States and a leading expert on our financial crisis, has figured we need $45 trillion invested today to cover our Social Security and Medicare obligations to baby boomers. Add to that the $16 trillion in our national debt, and we need $61 trillion invested today to cover our future obligations. Well, how much of the $61 trillion have we saved so far? Zip. Now, you tell me, how will we ever raise the trillions of dollars needed to cover our obligations? You guessed it, by increasing taxes. This is why you must understand the difference between tax-deferred and tax-free. With a qualified plan, the money you deposit is tax-deferred. The growth in your account is also tax-deferred. However, deposits and growth face federal and state income tax at the time of withdrawal. And guess when that is? That's right, when you retire and need the money the most. You probably won't be working full-time. Tax rates will probably be much higher than they are now, and you won't have any IRS-friendly deductions for kids or mortgage interest. And guess what happens to all that extra money you made by deferring taxes? It goes to Uncle Sam at the time of withdrawal. Deposit the money in a 33% tax bracket and withdraw the money in a 33% tax bracket, and your net spendable income is the same as if you had never deferred taxes at all. The only way you benefit from tax deferral is if you're in a lower tax bracket at the time of retirement, and you now understand why that's highly unlikely to happen. Even by some miracle, if we don't see huge tax increases over the next 20 years, you're still likely to be in the same tax bracket during retirement as you were pre-retirement. If you make $135,000 per year pre-retirement, you're in the 25% tax bracket. The 70% you'll need to retire comfortably is $94,500. But your post-retirement income would have to drop below $68,000 for you to be in the 15% tax bracket and see any reduction in taxes. If you make $68,000 pre-retirement, you're in the 15% tax bracket. 70% of $68,000 is $47,600. But your income would have to drop below $17,000 a year for you to be in the 10% tax bracket, receiving a whopping 5% discount. Now that you understand we will need over $40 trillion through increased taxes over the next 20 years, does it really make sense to defer taxes? With your personalized retirement plan, your money comes out income tax-free. Even though taxes may seem high, we're actually at historically low tax rates, and many experts believe we could easily see a 20 or 30% increase. What if we do see a 20, 30, or even a 50% increase? You won't care. Let everyone else worry about it because you've removed your retirement from the income tax system. For you, withdrawing $100,000 means $100,000 to spend, not $67,000 or $50,000. Which would you prefer? Okay, let's get to the biggest problem with your qualified plan: computerized trading. In 1978, computerized trading didn't exist. This is a picture of the Dow from 1970 until today. It took 17 years for the Dow to move 700 points in one direction. In 2011, it dropped 700 points in 15 minutes. Why is this so important to your qualified plan? Because you can never completely recover from a stock market loss. Let's say you have $100,000 in your account and the market drops by 50%, leaving your account balance at $50,000. Then the market recovers by 50% to its original level. The problem is you're no longer working with $100,000. You're now working with $50,000. 50% of $50,000 equals $25,000. $25,000 plus $50,000 equals $75,000. So even though the market had a full recovery, you're still $25,000 in the hole. This happens to you every time there's a large point swing in the market. In January of 2000, the Dow was at 11,772. In November of 2011, it was at 11,231. The difference between two lines represents 1,000 points. If you take nothing else away from this presentation, take away this. Every time the Dow moves 500, 700, 1,000 points or more and recovers, your qualified plan still loses money. Bottom line, it doesn't take a genius to figure out the 1978 buy and hold strategy of your qualified plan simply can't compete in today's high-speed computerized market. Next, I'll explain how your personalized retirement plan can actually benefit from high-frequency trading. This is a hypothetical $100,000 invested in the S&P from 1998 through 2010. From 1998 to 1999, there was a 21% increase, leaving an account balance of $121,110. From 1999 through 2002, the S&P had declines totaling 43%. And from 2002 through 2005, it had increases totaling 44%. Yet your account balance would have been $112,574. That's $8,536 below our 1999 high. Worse yet, you have just wasted 5 years of your investment life. Let's look at what happens with your personalized retirement plan if you have zero losses on down years and your upside potential is capped at 15%. Wait a second. Are you saying my upside gain will be capped at 15%? That's right. Your upside gain will be capped somewhere around 15% depending upon the plan. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's the catch. I knew this thing was too good to be true. But wait, don't bail on me just yet. Next, I'll explain how this ingenious cap strategy allows you to take advantage of the stock market volatility to grow your retirement, even when the market isn't growing. Back to our hypothetical $100,000 invested in the S&P. As you can see, from 1999 through 2002, had you been in this strategy, your account balance would have stayed level at $115,000. Not only was your original principal of $100,000 protected, but your first-year gain of $15,000 was also locked in and protected from loss. If you remember from the previous chart, by 2005, the S&P had made a full recovery, but your account balance was still $8,536 below the high of 1999. Had you been in this strategy, your account balance would have been $153,579. We can also see, during the major market meltdown of 2008, your account balance would have stayed level at $186,227. In 2010, your ending account balance would have been $244,828, with a 140% increase versus the 25% increase of the S&P 500. Even though the S&P had 3 years of growth well above your 15% cap, your 4 years of zero losses made a dramatic difference in your ending account balance. The 15% cap to the upside allows you to have a 0% floor to the downside, and by locking in gains every year, your retirement continues to grow, even when the stock market doesn't. You now have the ability to build your retirement no matter what the stock market does. Can you imagine what this one benefit could do to increase the balance of your retirement fund? So ask yourself this: why would I want my hard-earned retirement dollars at risk in the market when I could do as well, or possibly better, with zero risk? Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. What exactly is this thing, and why is it you've never heard of it? First, just because you've never heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean hundreds of thousands of people aren't already using it. And it doesn't mean all the advantages that I've already talked about aren't absolutely real and waiting for you to take advantage of them. The reason you've probably never heard of it is because it's a newly designed life insurance product called Indexed Universal Life, or IUL for short. Now, stick with me. Don't be fooled by any stereotypes of what you think an IUL might be. This is different than any other kind of whole life or variable life or universal life product you may have heard of or purchased before. The fact is, an IUL is more about savings than it is about life insurance, although it does a really nice job of providing that also. Now, hopefully the tax and principal protection advantages, along with the ability to link to the stock market with zero risk, will keep you interested enough to learn more. The fact is, an IUL, when structured and funded properly, beats the pants off any qualified plan in every comparison category that matters, including growth, risk, liquidity, flexibility, longevity, and fees. Now, you may have heard you should never consider insurance as a retirement savings vehicle. I'll answer that question next. In the past, there were 3 reasons you wouldn't want to consider an insurance product as a retirement savings vehicle. Number 1, inferior growth potential compared to mutual funds. Number 2, fees. And number 3, a company match. When it comes to growth, an IUL stands toe-to-toe with a 401k. In the past, if you purchased an insurance product with a savings component, it was linked to interest rates. An IUL is linked to the S&P 500, which means it mirrors the growth of the S&P without ever putting your money at risk in the market. Combine this with zero losses on down years and locked-in gains on up years, and it beats the pants off a 401k or other qualified plan. Next is fees. 401ks have promoted themselves as having low fees from the very beginning, while at the same time, many of you have been getting hammered with up to 17 different hidden fees eating at your account every year. There are purchase fees, redemption fees, exchange fees, custodial fees, legal fees, accounting fees, transfer agent fees, setup and conversion fees, reoccurring administrative fees, communication fees, investment management fees, distribution fees, expense risk fees, brokerage window fees, loan processing fees, loan origination fees, loan maintenance and repayment tracking fees, non-discrimination testing fees, educational materials and distribution fees, product termination fees, service provider termination fees, and there's even a fee for calling your plan provider and asking a question. Because of the many fee reductions that have already taken place, most of you will never know how much you've paid up until now for the privilege of owning your 401k. The question is, will plan providers decide to play fair and disclose all of their hidden fees, or simply find another way around the new fee disclosure law? Last is a company match. If your company currently offers a match for your qualified plan, it's actually very easy for them to also offer the same match for your IUL. It's called an executive bonus plan. It's been around for decades, is approved by the IRS, has no cost for the employer, and unlike a qualified plan, has no ERISA compliance requirements. So it's actually easier to offer. There is nothing offered by your 401k or qualified plan that you can't get with an IUL. Add to that all of the benefits you can get with an IUL that you can't get with your 401k, and instead of you should never consider an insurance product as a retirement savings vehicle. Maybe it should now be you should no longer consider a 401k as a retirement savings vehicle. And don't forget, this is still life insurance. If you die the day after you fund your IUL policy or any time thereafter, your loved ones will receive the death benefit income tax-free. Compare that to your 401k or qualified plan that pays no death benefit because it's not life insurance. Man, are you beginning to see why an IUL beats the pants off a 401k or qualified plan in a side-by-side comparison? Now you might be thinking, if this thing is so great, why have I never heard a financial advisor or plan provider recommend an IUL? The reason is simple. Only a licensed insurance agent can sell you an IUL. Most licensed money managers and brokers are not licensed to sell insurance. In other words, the guy that sells you your 401k can't by law sell you an IUL. If he can't sell it, he can't make any money on it. He makes his money on you when your money is at risk in the market. Okay, let's wrap up with the logistics of how an IUL works. It works like your 401k or other qualified plan in the sense that you'll make monthly or yearly contributions into your account. Actually, it works like a Roth IRA or Roth 401k because you'll use after-tax dollars to make those contributions and use your tax deductions such as kids or mortgage interest to offset your after-tax contribution. You have several options when withdrawing funds from your IUL. One option is to withdraw the funds from the cash reserves and just pay the taxes that are due. The dollars you contributed to the plan were already taxed at today's lower rates, so you'll only pay taxes on the growth in your account. This leaves you better off than your qualified plan, where you will pay future higher state and federal taxes on both deposits and growth. A second option is to borrow from the insurance company against the cash reserves in your account. This leaves your funds inside your IUL to continue working for you and gives you tax-free income. Is this legal? Yes, it's approved under IRS Tax Code 7702 and it's been used for years. The interest rate charged will fluctuate with current conditions, but most IUL policies will have a maximum interest rate charged on the borrowed funds. In this example, it's currently at 5%. If you leave your funds linked to the S&P with an average 8% annual rate of return, your account could actually continue to grow on the funds you've already borrowed against. If you're concerned about consecutive years of zero stock market growth, you can transfer the funds you borrowed against into an interest-bearing account. Let's say this account pays 4% and your loan interest rate is 5%, leaving a 1% drawdown on the amount you have borrowed. This will be paid off at the time of death with no tax consequences. By the way, the death benefit is still intact and goes to your beneficiaries, income tax-free. Yet another option is to purchase a guaranteed lifetime income rider with your IUL. What's your only option when withdrawing funds from your qualified plan? Pay the 20, 30, 40, or 50% taxes that are due. Bottom line, you have far more options with an IUL than you will ever have with your qualified plan. Okay, hang in there, we're almost done. Let's finish by comparing your qualified plan to an IUL. The funds in your qualified plan are always at stock market risk. An IUL is never at stock market risk. Your qualified plan gives back market gains. An IUL locks in market gains. Your qualified plan loses money every time there is a large point swing in the market. An IUL never loses a dime because of large point swings in the market. Your qualified plan has federal and state income tax at the time of withdrawal. An IUL gives you the option of zero tax at the time of withdrawal. At the time of death, all of the money left in your qualified plan will be taxed at the highest rates possible. An IUL will typically have zero tax at the time of death. Your qualified plan taxes the money inherited by loved ones. An IUL does not. Your qualified plan doesn't have a death benefit. Your IUL does, protecting your family from premature death while self-completing your retirement plan. Your qualified plan goes through probate. An IUL bypasses probate. Withdrawals from your qualified plan can trigger taxes on Social Security benefits. Borrowed funds from your IUL can't. Your qualified plan has limits on the amount you can contribute each year. An IUL does not. The government will require you to start withdrawing funds from your qualified plan at age 70 and a half and pay the taxes due, even if you don't want or need the money. This is called required minimum distributions. An IUL has no required minimum distributions. Your qualified plan has a 10% penalty for early withdrawals before age 59 and a half. The IUL does not. Your qualified plan can run out of money before you run out of life. An IUL is typically projected to last until age 120 and gives you the option of purchasing a guaranteed lifetime income rider. Your qualified plan stays with the employer upon separation. An IUL is employee-owned and follows the employee. One powerful retirement savings plan, not multiple smaller 401ks left behind with previous employers. An IUL simply beats the pants off a 401k or qualified plan and is the best retirement savings plan you have never heard of. The next step is yours. You simply need to request a no-cost, no-obligation, personalized retirement plan report. This will give you a quick overview of what your retirement might look like with an IUL and compare it to what your retirement would look like if you stayed in your 401k or qualified plan. Remember, we're not talking about coming up with new dollars to fund your IUL. We're talking about simply shifting the future dollars you would be contributing to your qualified plan into a better retirement plan. Same dollars, different vehicle. What you shouldn't do is just think about it. Taking a day or two to think it over quickly turns into a week, then a month, and before you know it, the stock market suffers another major downturn and you've lost even more of your retirement savings. Even if we're lucky enough to not have another major crash in our lifetimes, every year the stock market goes nowhere is another lost year of your investment life, and another year your account balance slips away because of market volatility. Why not switch to a plan that takes advantage of market volatility to help you build the retirement of your dreams? Now is the time to pick up the phone and request your free, personalized retirement plan report. Ask to have one emailed to you today.